Our series begins at a school where we learn that only wealthy students are allowed to attend. One of them goes to check his results, and here comes the surprise. He came in second place, and our heroine is the one who came in first. He gets angry because she beat him even though he's richer than her. Suddenly, our heroine arrives full of confidence. We learn her name is Xian, a beautiful girl who goes to stand in front of the results board and was laughing because she is smart and always comes in first place. She gloats at the student because he had bet with her that he would beat her and tells him cover it up and go to sleep and everything will be fine. The wealthy student gets angry and keeps bullying her because she is not from a noble family like his wealthy family. He thinks she will be too scared to respond, but she grabs him by his collar and tells him, "Is it not a shame that someone below you comes out first over you, you failure?" and warns him that if he tries to mock her again, she will break his face. She lets go of him and walks away, and the student feels embarrassed and decides to stay out of her way. Afterwards, Sion goes to the school principal's office and he congratulates her for coming first and gives her a tiara as a reward to encourage her. Our heroine pretends to be happy and thanks him, but when she leaves, she throws the tiara away because she is ambitious and wants to become the queen of the country. 5 years pass from this day and we see Sion in a meeting and we learn she has graduated from university and has taken over her father's company. She keeps yelling at the employees because they are stupid and sales have dropped because of them and tells them to execute her orders without thinking. "Have you forgotten that I am the director here? Or what?" Suddenly her secretary enters and tells her today is the king's birthday. Sion is delighted and decides to attend the party and agrees with the employees on a plan because she intends to market herself. Everyone agrees because they are scared of her and tell her we are potatoes under your feet, and if there's a king, then you are the queen. At that time, we see the prince getting ready for the party, but he is in the bathroom, and it is clear we have arrived at an inconvenient moment. We learn his name is Ion, a tall, handsome young man with muscles. He goes to his assistant to remind him about the king's party, but suddenly, our hero points a weapon at him, pretending he is going to finish him off. Of course, the assistant gets scared and says, "I'm sorry, consider me a small child who came in on you at the wrong time." Ion laughs because he was joking with him and tells him he is going hunting because he does not like parties. That night, the time for the party arrives, and the wealthy people start arriving at the king's palace, all wearing royal attire, since those are the official rules. But Xian is the only one wearing a red dress, and she steps out of the car, saying, "Let the earth tremble before me." Everyone is amazed by her beauty, and the photographers keep taking her picture. Our heroine is happy that her plan worked, and she managed to attract people's attention. The employees take advantage of the opportunity and start advertising her company, and because of this, her pictures spread everywhere and sales increase. Xion then enters the party but hears three girls bullying her and calling her an illegitimate child and saying her father is furious at her. She gets angry and breaks the glass in her hand and warns them to shut up or she will finish them off. Of course, they get scared and run away. Her brother then sees her and feels embarrassed by her behavior and threatens to tell their father. But she does not care about what he says and insults him for being a coward. She grabs him by his collar and keeps throttling him with all her strength to teach him manners. But suddenly, the king arrives to start the party. We learn he is still a small child, and his mother is his guardian, and she is annoyed because Uncle Ian was late and was going to start the party without him. But suddenly, our hero arrives self-confident and everyone is dazzled by his elegance and keeps staring at him, but they are puzzled that he is wearing hunting clothes. The queen mother gets angry and keeps nagging at him, but he ignores her and goes to sit in his place and tells them to start the party. The king is happy he is there because he loves him and wishes he would stay with him. The fireworks start and everyone keeps cheering his name. Afterwards, Xian feels bored because she does not know anyone and goes to stand alone. By coincidence, she sees someone who was her schoolmate and learns he has now become a minister. He goes to talk to her and welcomes her and tells her she is beautiful and her dress looks nice. Xian is happy, but instead of thanking him, she mocks his clothes and they joke and laugh. The minister decides to invite her to dinner at the first opportunity. At that time, Ion also goes to stand alone because he does not like crowds and sees his assistant and goes to stand with him. He notices distracted and asks him the reason. Our hero learns that the queen mother has been nagging him because she wants him to marry her relative. The assistant gets excited thinking he will agree, but Ion tells him I could never get married this way and I must choose my own life partner. He leaves him and goes for a walk and by coincidence meets Xian while she is trying to make a call and she gets tense when she sees him because she is not supposed to enter the palace and apologizes and asks him not to tell anyone. Ion laughs, gets closer to her and tells her I will forgive you just because you were at the same school. Our heroine is surprised he still remembers her and was about to thank him, but suddenly they hear the sound of an explosion. Ion leaves her and goes to see what is happening, but finds a large fire in the palace and gets scared and freezes in place shocked because his brother died in an accident like this long ago and ever since he has felt guilty and has a phobia of fire. Suddenly, the Queen Mother arrives and slaps him and blames him for causing it. Ion gets upset and cannot defend himself. Fortunately, the king arrives with the guards and is safe, and the mother runs to him and hugs him. Because of the fire, the party gets cancelled, and Sion has to leave the palace. She gets in the car with her secretary and tells her what happened and says she hates our hero. She then has a flashback to the first time she met him when she had entered the school at night to practice archery, and suddenly Ion saw her and asked what she was doing there. She threatened to tell the principal, but she was not scared of him because she thought he was also sneaking in like her. She asked him to cover for each other, but was surprised to find he had a permit because he was a prince. She got angry feeling there was an inequality, and instead of apologizing, told him she would beat him in the archery competition and left him. She snaps out of her thoughts, and it is clear she still holds a grudge against him. The next day, we see Ion in the palace, and the Queen Mother comes to talk to him and apologizes for slapping him, saying she was worried about her son. She pretends to cry and act remorseful to get his sympathy. Our hero is forced to forgive her and reassures her he does not like politics and does not want to be king. The mother is pleased and takes advantage of the opportunity, asking him to marry her relative, so he takes on responsibility. Our hero is torn and does not know what to do. On the other side, Sion is also surprised that her father wants to marry her off to a wealthy businessman for the sake of the company, but she of course refuses and tells him she could never get married this way. She leaves him and goes to the company furious and starts thinking. She decides to download a dating app so she can choose her own husband. She starts looking at their photos, but not one of them appeals to her. She feels disappointed and was about to lose hope, but suddenly she sees a photo of our hero. She decides to propose marriage to him since he is a handsome young man from a wealthy family. The secretary tries to convince her not to do this because a prince would never agree to her, but Sion refuses because she is confident in herself and says, "Where will he find someone with my beauty and intelligence?" She challenges her that she will make him fall in love with her. Before we continue, I think you forgot to hit the like button. Press like now, my friend, and subscribe now. She sends him a bouquet of flowers and asks to meet him, but he ignores her and refuses her request. Sion is surprised and thinks he is being difficult with her. She refuses to give up and keeps sending him many messages, but he remains firm in his principles and refuses them all. Sion gets angry and screams in his face, but she was in the middle of the company by herself because this is the first time someone has ignored her. She decides to try one more time and writes him a letter by hand telling him she was his schoolmate and urgently needs to meet him. Feel me. Ion is impressed by her personality and that she is determined to meet him, and this time he agrees. Our heroine is happy her plan worked and decides to prepare herself. That night she wears her best outfit and goes to his palace at the agreed time. Everyone falls for her beauty, and she captures their hearts. She enters to meet Ion full of confidence, and the moment she sits with him, she tells him without beating around the bush, "What do you think of us getting married?" Ion is surprised by her boldness and thinks she is joking, but she tells him she is serious. She tells him she always reaches what she wants. She then has a flashback to school days when the archery competition was scheduled. The bullying student kept mocking her because he was on Ion's team, but our hero got annoyed at his words and told him to be quiet or he would throw him out. It was clear he was impressed by her personality. The two teams started competing, and since Sion was poorer, she was surprised to find Ion was her opponent. She kept watching him hit the targets and realized he was more skilled than her. But she refused to give up and decided to focus in order to defeat him. She managed to hit the targets and got more points than him and actually won the competition. She snaps out of her thoughts and is confident he will agree to marry her. But he tells her, "Look back at me. I receive proposals from many girls, so what are you offering to make me agree to you?" Our heroine gets tense and tells him her qualities. She tells him she is beautiful, intelligent, and successful in her life. But he tells her none of that matters to him. "I am a prince after all. I have endless money." He tells her the one who marries him must truly love her. Sion is surprised by his words because this is the first time someone has refused her. She asks him to give her a chance and challenges her to make him fall in love with her. The next day, she goes to the company singing and dancing, and the secretary sees her and thinks Ion agreed to marry her. But she tells her he refused her, and the secretary is surprised and asks her then, "Why are you happy? Are you giving up?" Sion laughs and tells her, "Shame on you. I still have a chance," and insists she will marry him. She agrees with her on a plan to make him fall in love with her and asks her to watch him to learn his schedule and the places he usually goes. She then starts executing the plan and goes to the club where he practices horse riding and chases after him on her own horse until she manages to reach him. Ion is surprised when he sees her and asks what she is doing there, but she tells him she missed him. She gets close to him, trying to enchant him with her beauty. Our hero feels embarrassed and leaves her. He goes to a restaurant to eat, but is surprised that she found his location and followed him there. She sits beside him and keeps making hearts with her hands at him. Will he agree or not? Our hero gets tense and feels his heart starting to beat for her, but he lies to himself and leaves her and goes. Days pass and Xian keeps following him everywhere, at the club, at the cinema. Even while he was jogging, she was still there. He was close to even the bathroom. Our hero gets frustrated that she hunts him everywhere and decides to lock himself in the palace to escape from her. At that time, Xian gets a call from her father asking her to meet the wealthy suitor who proposed to her so they can get to know each other. She gets angry, but decides to go in order to drive him away. She meets him at an art gallery exhibition, and the guy is impressed by her beauty. But she keeps treating him dismissively and gets close to him, telling him if she marries him, she will finish him off to inherit from him. Of course, the suitor gets scared from her words and decides to call off the marriage. Afterward, Ian stays hiding from her in his palace, so she does not appear before him from anywhere, and goes to his assistant and notices he is distracted. He asks him if he is thinking about her, but our hero denies it and tells him she would be the last person on earth he would look at. He leaves him and goes to sleep, but has a dream about the day his brother died. At the time, he had been hunting, and when he returned, he found a large fire in the palace and saw his brother dead before him and felt guilty for not being able to protect him. He wakes up startled and decides to at least protect his nephew. He must make up for his mistake. The next day, he learns his nephew is going to a press conference alone. He notices he is scared and tense because he is still a child. But our hero takes his hand and reassures him he is by his side and takes him and goes up on stage. The king starts honoring successful company presidents, and of course our heroine is one of them. She goes on stage self-confident, and the king gives her her award and puts the hat on her. Xian is delighted and thanks him. But she takes advantage of the opportunity and gets close to our hero and tells him she missed him. Of course, he gets tense and changes the subject so no one notices. Xian keeps taking photos to increase her fame and posts them online. When she comes out of the conference, she finds the minister waiting for her and decides to invite her to a restaurant to congratulate her. Xian is happy and thanks him, but he keeps looking at her with eyes full of love and remembers their memories from school days. We learn they were together on the archery team, and since she hated losing, she used to train him, and because of this, he became fond of her. But he was too afraid to admit his feelings to her because he was scared she would reject him. He snaps out of his memories and decides to try to get close to her and not repeat the mistake he made long ago. At that time, our hero goes to the hotel but feels dizzy, and the assistant notices he is unwell and has a fever. He worries about him and asks him to rest and goes down to the pharmacy to buy him medicine. But by coincidence, he meets Xian and she learns from him that Ian fainted. She decides to help him and calls her doctor and takes him to examine Ian. The doctor reassures her he is fine but needs to rest. Our heroine decides to stay with him and buys food and sits with his assistant until he gets better. But when he learns the queen mother is standing outside and gets scared, she will see Xian here. He quickly brings her inside the room for her to hide and goes to open for the queen mother, telling her our hero is asleep. But she sees a women's bag and knows there is a woman inside with him. She enters to see who it is and is surprised to find our heroine standing there and thinks there is something between them and leaves angry. Xian thinks the matter is over, but the next day when she wakes up, she is surprised that all the news is talking about her. Rumors have spread that she and our hero are secretly in a relationship. Of course she is happy because this means she will become even more famous. But Ian gets angry and leaves the hotel and returns to his palace and asks to talk to her. When Xian goes to him, she thinks he is going to fight with her, but he apologizes for causing her problems and tells her he agrees to marry her. Our heroine is surprised by what she heard and thinks she is dreaming, but he takes her and walks with her through the palace, holding her hand and lets the photographers take pictures of them together to confirm the rumors. The news spreads quickly and everyone knows they are in a relationship. Suddenly, while they are walking through the palace, the servants stop them and tell him the queen mother wants to talk to him. Ian has to go to her and tells Xian he will not be long. He runs his hand through her hair so everyone believes they are in love. Our heroine is happy at his attention. He then goes to the queen mother who is angry about what he is doing because Xian is not at their level. But he tells her he is free in his own life and tells her he decided to marry her because she is the only one who captured his heart. He leaves her to return to Xian but is surprised to find her sitting with the king. She had found out he was hungry and cooked food for him herself. Our hero is impressed by her personality but asks the king to go to his room to sleep. He then takes advantage of the opportunity and gets close to her. Xian gets tense and thinks he is going to be bold with her. But he tells her their marriage will be fake and explains to her that they will pretend in front of everyone that they are married, but in reality, they will be like siblings and friends. Our heroine is surprised, but of course agrees because this is what she wants, so that no one suspects anything. She decides to sleep at his place in the palace. When the servants find out, they try to stop her because the queen mother will get angry. But Xian does not care about their words and asks them to bring her silk clothes. The servant is surprised by her boldness and is forced to agree. Afterward, Ayan enters his room, but Xion refuses to sleep on the sofa and goes beside him in the bed. He gets angry at her bold behavior, so he makes a barrier between them with pillows, and they each keep trying to pull the blanket toward their side and argue like children. But since he is stronger than her, he knocks her off the bed. The servants hear them and misunderstand the situation and tells the Queen Mother what is happening. The next morning, our hero wakes up late and is surprised she is not beside him and thinks the Queen Mother has taken her. But the assistant tells him she went to work. She arrives at the company happy and laughing because she has become famous. Everyone knows she is going to marry the handsome prince, and because of this, all her sales have gone sky high and girls are buying dresses and beauty products from her to be as beautiful as her. Suddenly, the minister comes to her and asks her if the rumors are true. But she lies and tells him she loves Ayan and asks him to help her marry him as soon as possible. The minister pretends to agree but is upset because he is the one who has feelings for her. At the end of the day, Xian leaves the company, but while she is in the garage, she finds 4 girls who are waiting for her and start throwing food and drinks at her and keep insulting and bullying her because they are fans of the prince and do not want her to marry him. Poor things think she is a weak girl who will cry. But she gets angry and decides to let out the street toughness inside her and grabs them and breaks their faces, telling them if they come near her again, she will destroy them. She lets them go and returns home. There, she finds her father waiting for her and is happy and thinks he is going to congratulate her on the marriage. She sits with him to talk, but he tells her today is the anniversary of his wife's death and asks her if she remembers what she did to her. Xian remembers childhood memories, and we learn she went to live with her father. But his wife, when she saw her, could not take the shock and collapsed, and unfortunately died. From that time, her father came to hate her because she was the cause of her death. Xian tried to make him proud of her and always came in first place, so he would acknowledge her, but he always treated her badly and preferred her older brother over her. She snaps out of her thoughts, and her father tells her he decided to sign the company over to her brother. But she gets furious because he is a failure and does not deserve the position, and warns him if he does, that she will finish him off and inherit his possessions. She leaves him and goes to her room and sits alone feeling sad. Suddenly, Ayan calls her and asks if she is all right, but she tells him she is busy and ends the call and is upset because she does not care about the company and does everything just to make her father love her and be proud of her. She hears someone standing outside and thinks it is a thief and decides to teach him a lesson and unleash all the old and new anger inside her. She grabs a bat and goes to smash his face, but when she opens the door, she is surprised to find Ayan there bringing her the food she loves because he sensed she was upset. Xian is happy at his attention and thanks him. She keeps eating happily, and Ayan is charmed by her beauty, completely captivated with hearts in his eyes. He decides to take her to his palace to protect her and improve her mood. When they arrive, the servants are surprised she is coming late, but she keeps annoying them and grabs his arm so they believe they are together. She enters her room to sleep but feels bored and decides to go help him with his work. She goes to his office and sits with him and asks why he agreed to marry her. She thinks he is going to tease her, but he tells her he is a prince, yes, but he has many debts and needs to pay them, and you are rich and will surely help me. Our heroine feels disappointed and agrees, but then he confesses to her that she is beautiful and captured his heart. Xian is delighted by his words and feels she has also started to like him and decides to go through with the marriage. She thinks luck has finally played in her favor. But the next day, she finds guards standing before her and they decide to interrogate her because they suspect she is the one who started the fire the night of the party. Our heroine is surprised and realizes the Queen Mother did this to push her away from Ayan. She tries to call him to help her, but his servant tells her he is at the royal cemetery now and does not have his phone. She feels disappointed and decides to go with them. Fortunately, Ayan arrives in time and stops them and tells the Queen Mother he is certain of her innocence because he was with her the night of the party. Xian is happy at his words and drops to the ground pretending to be dizzy from exhaustion. Ayan carries her and takes her to his room to rest. But when he enters, he drops her on the bed and taps her on the head to wake her up and stop her acting. He apologizes for causing her problems, but she laughs and tells him what happened works in their favor, because everyone will think the Queen Mother is targeting them, and their popularity will increase even more. Indeed, this proves to be the case, and the news spreads everywhere. The Queen Mother gets angry because her plan failed, and she starts hating her even more. Afterwards, Xian goes to sleep to rest, but remembers when Ayan carried her and feels her heart beating for him, and is afraid she is falling in love with him. At night, she decides to go to him and waits in front of the palace. But suddenly, he comes jumping over the wall, and Xian laughs at his behavior. She stands on a chair to reach him and gives him his favorite drink. Our hero is impressed by her attention and without any preamble kisses her. Xian is surprised by what he did, but he gets close to her and says there is a journalist watching us, and I had to pretend we are in a relationship in front of him. Of course, our heroine takes the excuse and closes her eyes, asking him to do it again. But he laughs and tells her the journalist has already left. The next day, he goes to the palace and finds his advisors holding a meeting and asking him to separate from Sion because she is not at their level. But he refuses and insists on marrying her. The minister is forced to intervene and tells them if he does that his popularity will decrease because she is famous and people love her. He suggests they announce they are engaged and promise a short period until they find another solution. Ian likes the idea and agrees to it. But when Sion sees the news, she gets angry and thinks he is playing with her. She goes to meet him and asks if he changed the agreement between them. But he reassures her he is doing this to protect her and asks her to trust him. To make her believe him, he decides to take her out on a date. Our heroine is delighted and goes to prepare herself. She wears her best outfit and looks like the princesses she wants to resemble and thinks he will be impressed. But he shocks her and tells her she looks terrible and tells her he wants her to be natural. Sion gets angry and goes to change her clothes. This time she wears a suitable casual outfit. Our hero is dazzled by her beauty, completely captivated with hearts in his eyes, and tells her this is more like it. He takes her hand and they get in the car. On the way, Sion treats him like her servant and makes him hold the mirror while she combs her hair. Of course, our hero feels embarrassed by her behavior but is forced to put up with her. They go to the stadium to watch their favorite team, and there she gives Sion a matching jersey and asks him to wear it so they can match together. But the prince flat out refuses, saying, "Do you know who I am?" When they enter, they meet her brother, who was going to bully her as usual, but when he sees Ian, he gets scared and is forced to respect him right away, and therefore also respects his sister. Afterward, they sit in the stands, but the camera comes to them and the audience is delighted by their relationship and asks our hero to kiss her. But he feels embarrassed because a prince cannot do that in front of people. Sion has to apologize to them and pretend to be shy. They keep cheering for their favorite team and have a nice time enjoying themselves. When they finish, they go out to return to the palace but meet the minister by coincidence, and he offers to take her to dinner. Sion is happy and agrees and asks Ian to leave, but he feels jealous and insists on coming along. The three of them sit in a restaurant, and Sion starts eating happily and laughing. Of course, our hero is hungry, but since he is a prince, he is not allowed to eat outside. Sion takes advantage of the situation and finishes all the food to annoy him. When she finishes, she goes to the mall to buy some clothes and then returns to the palace. There she finds the royal tutor waiting for her and takes her to teach her the palace rules. She grabs a cane and starts training her how to walk like princesses. Our heroine gets scared of her and is forced to listen to her until Ian arrives and she is happy. She runs to him and hugs him and begs him to take her with him because if she stays here any longer, she will go crazy. He feels sorry for her and asks the tutor to let her continue tomorrow. Sion thanks him and takes advantage of the opportunity and runs to hide in her room. The next day, Ian wakes up and finds the queen mother waiting for him and introduces him to her relative and asks him to go out with her so they can get engaged. But he refuses and genuinely loves Sion and will not marry anyone else. When our heroine learns what happened, she is happy. He is holding on to her and decides to continue the lessons to prove to him she is up to the responsibility. The tutor makes her walk while balancing plates to learn elegance. Sion succeeds in the test because she is smart. But suddenly, the king arrives, and when she greets him, she drops the plates and breaks them and feels embarrassed. She then talks to him and finds out he did not go to school that day because he was bored and wanted to play like children his age. She feels sorry for him because everyone pressures him and decides to improve his mood by gathering all the servants and guards and making them play with him. They joke and laugh and have a lovely time. At the end of the day, the king asks her to take him for a drive in her car. Sion is forced to agree and takes him with her and starts driving him around the city. Afterwards, she tries to stop the car, and the shock is that the brakes will not work, and the speed keeps increasing. She gets scared and does not know what to do. She asks him to put on his seatbelt and keeps going on the road at high speed, trying to avoid all the cars in front of her. But she ends up going onto a bridge and realizes she is about to fall into the water. She feels this is her end. But suddenly, a Mercedes appears and stops in front of her and stops her in time. Our hero gets out of it injured and is happy he managed to save her. But then he faints. He is transferred to the hospital, and when the queen mother learns what happened, she runs there to check on her son. She is angry and wants to take revenge on Sion, but she finds the minister waiting for her, and he tries to calm her down and tells her it is not her fault. At that time, the king wakes up and remembers the moment of the accident when Sion held his hand to reassure him and was more scared for him than herself. He goes to her room and takes her hand and apologizes for putting her life in danger. Our heroine senses his feelings and wakes up from her sleep startled and is happy when she sees him and reassures him she is fine. She leaves him and goes to Ian, but is surprised his arm is broken. She scolds him for being reckless, and our hero is happy she is worried about him. He puts his hand on her face and keeps staring into her eyes and tells her he is ready to do anything for her. Sion feels embarrassed and pretends to be tired and asks him to rest and leaves him. The secretary then comes to visit her and weeps because she was driving while drinking. But Sion tells her someone sabotaged her brakes and was definitely trying to finish her off. The secretary is surprised and realizes her life is in danger and asks her to stay away from the prince because she does not actually love him and their marriage is fake. Suddenly, the minister enters and hears them, and Sion gets tense. She is forced to tell him everything and reveals to him that marrying Ian is for mutual benefit. The minister is happy because he is the one who has feelings for her and takes advantage of the opportunity and proposes she marry him instead. Sion is surprised but does not answer and leaves him. She goes to visit our hero but is surprised he has left the hospital. She decides to go after him to his palace, but when she arrives, the servants block her and give her bags and ask her to leave. She wonders at their behavior and tries to call Ion, but he does not answer. She gets angry and realizes he is the one who asked them to do this and is forced to leave. At that time, we see our hero sitting alone. We learn he was going to visit her, but had overheard the minister proposing to her and thought she had agreed and left before hearing her answer. From that moment, he is sad, feeling his heart is broken because he had started to become attached to her and love her. But Sion does not give up, and the next day goes to meet him and asks why he expelled her from the palace. But he does not answer and decides to cancel the marriage. Our heroine is surprised and asks him the reason, but he lies to her and says she is reckless and put his nephew, the king's life, in danger. She is upset by his words and leaves him and returns home. There she finds her father and brother waiting for her. Instead of checking on her, they ask her to leave the company because sales have dropped because of her. Sion is upset that she does not matter to them and tells them, "I have actually learned something. This saying is true. A salted fish cannot be turned into jam, and bad people cannot be improved." She refuses to resign and leaves them. At that time, Ion is asleep, upset, but has a nightmare and remembers his mother who was in an accident and died before his eyes when he was young. He wakes up startled, and we learn he risked his life to save Sion because he does not want to lose someone he loves again. Afterward, his assistant comes and asks him why he decided to cancel the marriage when he loves her. But our hero recalls the minister's words when he told him someone sabotaged the brakes and asked him to separate from her and keep her away from the palace to protect her. Our hero was forced to listen to his advice because he does not want to put her in danger. He decides to see her one more time to say goodbye. The next day, he sends her an invitation to a party at his palace and is confident she will agree. But she refuses and shocks him. Her dignity is the most important thing to her. Ayan is surprised by her behavior and realizes this time she is genuinely and seriously upset. He tries to call, but she does not answer. He is forced to go and meet her in person and tells her he expelled her from the palace because he was worried about her. But she gets angry and tells him he is a coward. She decides to teach him a lesson in morals and picks up the bow and arrow and aims at his cat. Ayan gets scared and quickly stands in front of her. Our heroine laughs and tells him that is the way to protect someone you love, by being brave and facing the danger. She leaves him and goes. He is moved by her words and regrets separating from her. That night, he disguises himself and waits for her in front of the house. He sees her walking and follows her and apologizes for breaking his promise to her and asks her to come to the party. Sion is happy and forgives him. The two keep staring at each other, and the next day she wears her best outfit and goes to the palace. The queen mother is surprised to see her because she thought she would not come back again. She decides to get rid of her and takes her to the garden and makes her walk in the sun. Our heroine starts to feel tired because it is hot. But suddenly, Ayan arrives wearing a chic suit and everyone is dazzled by his handsomeness. But he ignores them and takes Sion and walks with her. He takes her to his servants and asks them to make her a special evening gown and stands waiting for her outside until she finishes. Afterward, they enter the party holding hands, and everyone is surprised by how beautiful they are together and keeps staring at them because they are perfect for each other. The queen mother is annoyed by our heroine because she has stolen all the attention. But she controls herself because this is the last time she will see her. The music starts and our heroes begin dancing together romantically. When they finish, Ayan surprises her and gets down on one knee and presents her with his mother's ring and proposes to marry her. Our heroine is surprised because she did not expect this and of course is overjoyed and agrees. The fireworks start and everyone is moved by their relationship and keeps applauding and cheering their names. The queen mother is shocked by what is happening and signals to her son and asks him to stop the marriage. But he does not listen to her because he loves our heroes and congratulates them and wishes them a happy life. Our heroes are happy and keep dancing together joyfully. The minister stands far away staring at Sion and is sad. He remembers his memories with her from school days, and we learn the bullies had locked her in to prevent her from making it to the exam on time. But he decided to help her and opened the door at the right moment. At that time, Sion thanked him and grabbed his hand and ran with him so they could both make it to the exam on time. From that moment, he fell in love with her. He snaps out of his memories and is upset that she married someone else. But he decides to wait for her until she divorces. After the party, Sion stands in front of the sea, happy about the ring, and Ian keeps staring at her with hearts in his eyes. He gets close to her and fixes her hair with his hand, feeling his heart beating toward her. The next day, Sion holds a press interview on the occasion of their engagement and keeps raising her hand every few moments, so the ring is visible to the camera. The journalist asks her how she and our hero met each other, and Sion tells her they were schoolmates long ago and he always supported her. When Ian sees the interview, he laughs because she is obviously lying. He decides to have her come back to the palace to keep her close to him, and she agrees. But this time she takes her secretary with her to help her. Afterwards, she goes to meet him to set the wedding date, and Ian is surprised the minister is with her and gets angry thinking they came together. But Sion tells him she met him outside by coincidence and tells him she trusts him. The minister is happy at her words and gives her a handkerchief and keeps being attentive to her. Ion feels jealous of their relationship and asks him to watch his behavior because she will be his wife. He takes her so they can talk alone and tells her she is naive and trusts people easily. Sion is upset by his words and proposes they write a contract that the marriage will be fake. They each start putting in their conditions and agree to be married for 3 years, after which they will divorce. Everything between them must remain secret. Suddenly, the Queen Mother enters and they are scared. She will see the contract and quickly hide it. They hold each other's hands to pretend they are in a relationship and in love. They think she will fight with them, but she welcomes them and invites them to dinner. They are surprised and wonder what has gotten into her being so nice. They are forced to agree, and the three of them sit together. The Queen Mother keeps drinking and pretends she has lost her senses and starts nagging our hero verbally while pretending and tells him his brother died because of him. Ayan is upset by her words and cannot defend himself. But Sion gets angry and was about to jump up and grab her by the hair. She holds his hand to comfort him and takes him out of the place and tells him when she marries him, she will not allow anyone to come near him. Our hero is happy at her words and thanks her for being in his life. Sion decides to take him out to improve his mood and takes him to the harbor and has prepared a surprise for him. With a signal from her hand, she lights up the entire place. They board a ship and she cooks for him herself, making the food he loves with her own hands. Our hero is happy for the first time eating outside the palace. She then takes him up to the roof and they watch the stars, and she has him stand behind her and raise his arms like he is flying. He keeps laughing and feeling free. He is having a lovely time with her and is happy. Suddenly, they trip and both fall to the ground. Our heroine feels embarrassed and tries to get up, but he cannot resist her beauty and pulls her close and kisses her. Afterward, they return to the palace both so embarrassed they cannot look at each other. The servants notice something is going on between these two and realize they had been on a romantic date. Ian tries to change the subject and asks her to sleep to rest, but she remembers what happened between them and stays awake all night. Confused with her feelings all mixed up, and tries to convince herself she does not love him and will marry for mutual benefit and nothing more. On the other side, our hero is also thinking about her, but is happy and living the happiest moments of his life because for the first time he loves and is loved in return. The next morning, Sion wakes up early and tries to slip away without him noticing. But suddenly he appears from behind her and she gets tense and was about to fall to the ground, but he catches her in time. The two keep staring at each other with eyes full of love. Our heroine pretends she is busy and leaves and goes out running. Ayan realizes she is embarrassed and laughs at her because she is like a child. When she comes out, she meets the minister by coincidence, and he decides to walk her to his car. On the way, he tries to talk to her, but she keeps talking about our hero, and the minister feels jealous. When they arrive, he reminds her their marriage will be fake and asks her not to get attached to him because he is worried about her. Sion is convinced by his words and promises him she will do that. She then goes to a jewelry shop to buy accessories for the wedding day. Suddenly, her brother comes and tries to get close to her, asking her to give up the company after she gets married. But she refuses because he is a failure and irresponsible and will ruin the company and destroy his future. She leaves him and goes to the palace with her secretary, but is surprised to find they have already started preparing the wedding ceremonies. She sees Ayan trying on his suit and is captivated by his handsomeness and stares at him without him noticing. She then tries on the dress too, and of course it suits her because she is beautiful. Suddenly, our hero gets close to her and she gets scared thinking he will be bold with her. But he gives her hair a style, and because of this, she feels embarrassed and her face turns red. She pretends the secretary is unwell and calls for the doctor. He just laughs because he is the only one who knows she is embarrassed in front of him. When he comes out, he finds the Queen Mother waiting for him and warns him the marriage will fail because he is a prince and Sion is an ordinary girl from the common people. But he says it does not matter to him because he loves her and leaves her. He enters his room and decides to hide the fake marriage contract in the safe. At that moment, he sees his brother's will, and we learn his brother wanted him to be king after him. But our hero refused to tell anyone, because he wants to live free. The next day, he goes with Sion to meet her family, and her father is overjoyed when he sees him and welcomes him. The king's son of the king, oh, the honor. They all sit eating together, and he asks Aeon to take care of Sion. But she gets angry and tells him, "You remembered now that I am your daughter. Then why did you not check on me when I had the accident? You never loved me and always preferred my brother over me." Her father feels embarrassed by her words and tries to change the subject. But she cannot take it anymore and goes to her room. Ion worries about her and follows her. He notices she has many medals and awards and realizes she always came in first place. She asks him to wait outside, but he refuses and insists on staying with her until she calms down and tries to comfort and reassure her. She is moved by his tenderness and asks if he has feelings toward her. She thinks he will deny it, but he admits he is fond of her and reassures her this will not affect their agreement, and if she wants to divorce at any time, he will do that. Sion is happy at his words and thanks him, saying he has improved her mood. Afterward, they return together, and on the way, he tries to hold her hand, but suddenly a call comes for her from the minister checking on her. We notice our hero is jealous of her but refuses to show it. When they arrive at the palace, he says goodbye and tells her he will miss her because they will not see each other except on the wedding day. Sion gets tense and feels her heart beating. The next day, she goes to the company for a meeting. But Ion sends her a message checking on her and asking her to eat well. She, of course, is happy at his attention. When she finishes, she goes to the palace to begin the wedding ceremonies. The servants keep getting her ready, putting on her makeup and dressing her in the gown, and everyone is dazzled by her beauty. The officiant arrives and announces them husband and wife, and the celebrations begin throughout the country with everyone happy about their marriage, except the minister, who is the only one upset. The queen mother notices his looks and realizes he loves Sion. Afterward, our heroes enter the palace together, and Sion is happy, but suddenly she feels unwell and collapses to the ground unconscious. Ion is surprised by what happened and runs to her and hugs her and cries, scared of losing her, and asks them to call the ambulance immediately. She is transferred to the hospital, and he stays with her until she enters the operating room. The doctor examines her and saves her life in time. When he comes out, he tells our hero that someone put poison in her drink and reassures him she will be fine but needs rest. Afterward, the minister arrives angry and shouts at him for not being able to protect her. Our hero feels guilty and decides to take revenge on whoever did this and find out who it is. He asks him to interrogate everyone who was in the palace from the youngest to the oldest. "I will catch the criminal and make them pay." The minister agrees and starts doing this. The first person to be interrogated is the queen mother, and since she hates Sion, he keeps questioning her. But she denies everything and assures him she has nothing to do with it. Sion then wakes up, and the first thing she asks about is our hero. At that time, he is standing at his mother's grave crying because he misses her, and today he almost lost someone else dear to his heart and cannot take it. Suddenly, the royal tutor comes to him and tells him Sion has woken up, and he is overjoyed and runs to check on her to the point that he runs up the stairs. When he arrives, he hugs her and cries and tells her he was scared for her. Our heroine is moved and is certain he loves her and reassures him she is fine. Afterward, the minister arrives and asks Aeon to go with the investigator to give his statement and sits with Sion to tell her everything. He tells her the criminal put the poison in our hero's drink, but you were the one who drank it instead. Sion is surprised and remembers she accidentally swapped the cup and realizes Ion is the one whose life is in danger. She wants to go to him, but the minister stops her because she is still unwell and reassures her he will protect him. The next day, she leaves the hospital and finds many journalists waiting for her and decides to take advantage of the opportunity and pretends to be unwell and unable to walk. She did this to become even more famous and increase the company's sales. Her plan works and people sympathize with her and talk about her. When she returns to the palace, she finds the queen mother herself waiting for her and welcomes her and pretends to be worried about her and tells her if she needs anything to call her. Sion thanks her and leaves her and goes to her room. Ion stays beside her to protect her and take care of her and tells her he has brought her many guards. But she gets angry and hits him with a pillow because he is the one who needs guards and asks him to take care of himself and not trust anyone. Our hero is happy. She is worried about him and promises he will do that. He leaves her and goes to change his clothes but comes back wearing a royal robe, which is a luxury. And Sion is dazzled by his handsomeness and keeps staring at him because he is an athletic young man with muscles, the dream boy of all girls. She feels embarrassed because he got close to the point that her heart is beating rapidly. Our hero decides to sleep beside her to protect her from any danger. But as for the pillow and the blanket, yes, he is still worried about her and pretends there is someone watching them, so he holds her in his arms so no one suspects them. He keeps patting her until she feels safe and falls asleep. The next day, he learns she is going to a celebration at their old school and decides to go with her. But Sion notices he is wearing a black suit and tells him no, not that anymore. We are married. Our days will be rosy, my friend. Come on, change it and wear something similar to my outfit so we can match together. He is refusing and says, I could never do that. She tells him, oh, you're going to change it? Or what? He is captivated, completely charmed with hearts in his eyes and says orders are obeyed and wears a white one. They then go out holding hands and keep waving to their fans all the way until they arrive at the school. Sion goes on stage to give advice to the students. But suddenly someone leaks their marriage contract and everyone learns they will be getting divorced. Journalists arrive and keep photographing her, and our heroine gets tense and does not know what to do. But Ian takes her hand to reassure her and takes her trying to leave. But the minister stops them and tells them there are many people waiting outside. They agree on a plan to escape, and the assistant and secretary disguise themselves as our heroes carrying an umbrella and come out while the journalists run after them until they get in the car and drive away. Thank God our heroes are safe. At that moment, the secretary feels embarrassed with her heart beating, and it is clear she has fallen in love with the assistant. Our heroes then take advantage of the opportunity and return to the palace where they sit with the minister to think about who leaked the news. But they realize no one knows this secret except the three of them, and they suspect there is a spy in the palace. The minister asks them to stay quiet and not respond to the rumors and says he will find out who it is. Our heroes are forced to listen to him, but the rumors keep growing, and people start thinking Ian is the one who started the fire to get rid of his nephew and become king himself. Our hero gets angry and goes to his room to think. Sion feels guilty for causing him problems and ruining his reputation because of her. She follows him to apologize and notices his arm is injured and feels sorry for him. But he hugs her and tells her she is the most important thing to him and reassures her he will handle it. The next day he meets the minister and tells him he has decided to clarify the truth to the people and tell them he genuinely loves Sion. The minister is surprised he is still holding on to her after everything that happened and has a flashback to 2 days ago. We learn he met the queen mother and pretended not to know her father was the one who tried to finish off our hero and threatened her he would expose her. But the queen mother offered him a deal and gave him the fake marriage contract and asked him to publish it so everyone would know our heroes were lying. At that point, he could marry Sion. Unfortunately, the minister betrayed our heroes and agreed because he loves her. We return to the present and he feels guilty because he is the reason for everything that happened to our heroes. Afterward, the queen mother asks to talk to Sion and tells her Ian's presence beside him is causing her problems and says if she loves him, she must stay away from him. Sion is upset by her words and was about to cry but controls herself and tells her she will stay with him until the problem is solved. Afterward, Ian goes to check on his nephew but finds the king's grandfather there and hears him shouting at him and wanting to expel Sion from the palace. Of course, the king refuses because he loves her and keeps crying. The grandfather tells him to grow up and expel her. Ian feels sorry and enters furious with anger in his eyes. He grabs the grandfather by the neck and keeps throttling him with all his strength and was about to finish him off. But Sion arrives in time and stops him. He is forced to listen to her and throws him on the ground but warns him if he does this again, he will regret it. He leaves him and goes to his nephew and hugs him to calm him down and wipes his tears and reassures him he will protect him and will never let anyone get close to him. Sion is moved by his tenderness. That night, she keeps staring at him while he is asleep and remembers their memories together and the beautiful moments they lived. She feels guilty that he is suffering because of her. The next day, she goes to meet her father and drops to the floor and tells him she is ready to give up the company on the condition that he helps our hero. Her father is surprised by her behavior because it is the first time she has appeared weak in front of him. But he tells her the only solution is for her to divorce and stay away from him. Sion decides to sacrifice her happiness because she loves him and returns to the palace. The moment she sees him, she runs to him and hugs him but asks him to divorce her. Ian is surprised by her words and thinks she is joking. He asks her if there is someone in the palace bothering her and says, just tell me who, and I will get your rights from them. But she tells him she has been married to him for mutual benefit and now has nothing to gain from him. She cries and tells him she does not love him. Of course, all of this is against her own heart because she does not want to be a burden to him. Unfortunately, Ian believes her and is upset and decides to fulfill her wish. He leaves her and goes to his room and sits alone remembering their memories together and breaks down crying because all he wants is for her to stay with him. But it seems everyone he loves ends up leaving him. The next day, they hold a meeting in the palace and Sion tells them she is going to divorce to face all the problems alone. At the same time, her brother holds a press conference and says he is the one who made the fake contract without our heroes knowing. Of course, all of this was Sion's plan to improve Ian's reputation and make people forget the rumors about him. Suddenly, the palace's official spokesman enters and tells them the king has abdicated his position in favor of our hero. Everyone is surprised by what happened. When the queen mother finds out, she gets angry and runs to her little son to make him take back his words. How can you step down and stop being king? But he has locked his door and she keeps knocking on it. When he refuses to open it, she asks the servants to break down the door, but the minister arrives in time and stops her. Afterwards, Sion learns our hero has left the palace and nobody knows his location. She tries to call him, but he is upset with her and does not answer. Our heroine is lost and does not know what to do. The royal tutor sees her and feels sorry for her and decides to tell her his location because he needs her now. Sion is happy and thanks her. She gets in the car and drives at maximum speed. She reaches him, and the moment she sees him, she runs to him and hugs him and apologizes for asking him to divorce her because she wanted to protect him. She admits she loves him and it does not matter to her if he is a prince or even a beggar. Ion is happy at her words, and since he is forgiving, he decides to forgive her. He hugs her and kisses her, and as we all know, a kiss brings the beloved back. The next day, they return to the palace, and our hero is surprised to find the queen mother waiting for him. She confesses everything, and we learn she was his schoolmate, and her dream was to be a piano player. But her father arranged for her to marry Ion's brother to become queen, and she was forced to obey and sacrificed her dream, and also her heart, because she had feelings for our hero. She snaps out of her memories and confesses her feelings to him. Aeon is surprised but moves away from her and tells her he is married to our heroine and loves her. The guards are sent to lock her up until he takes his position. The queen mother breaks down and calls her father and tells him what happened, but he asks her to stay in her room and says he will handle it. It is clear he is planning something dangerous. Afterward, Ion dresses in the king's robes and prepares to take power. Sion is happy and tells him she is proud of him. She leaves him and goes to prepare herself. But when she returns, she hears the sound of an explosion and is surprised by a large fire in the palace. She asks the secretary, and she tells her our hero is still inside. She gets scared of losing him and runs to catch up with him, knowing he has a phobia and cannot move if there is fire. The assistant and guards try to stop her, but she does not care. She made her decision and risked her life and enters the middle of the fire. She keeps calling out to him until she sees him fallen on the floor from the smoke. She refuses to give up and keeps pulling him until she manages to get him out in time. She saves his life and takes him to his room to treat him. She sits beside him and keeps talking to him while he is asleep, and cries and asks him not to leave her because she cannot live without him for even a moment. Suddenly, the minister arrives and sees her hands and realizes she is injured. He feels sorry for her and shouts at her for risking her life for him. But she tells him if Ion were in her place, he would have done the same thing. She asks him to investigate the matter to find out who started the fire. She leaves him and returns to our hero and remembers her memories with him and all the moments they lived together happy. She hugs him and promises to protect him. The next day, she goes to the queen mother and warns her that if she is responsible for what happened, she will regret the day she was born. She leaves her and sits with the assistant, and they start reviewing the surveillance cameras to find out who started the fire. But suddenly, the secretary enters and tells them Ion has woken up. Sion, without thinking, runs to him. The moment she sees him, she hugs him crying. Our hero tries to calm her down and apologizes for scaring her. He takes her with him to his room and stays beside her all night to reassure her. The next day, the queen mother comes to talk to him and drops to her knees and tells him her father was the one who started the fire to finish him off. She also tells him she is unfortunately the one who was responsible for his brother's death. Yes, I am the one who killed your brother. Ion is shocked and asks her why she did it. She cries and tells him she was greedy and thought if I do this, the position of king will go to my son. She begs him to punish her however he sees fit. Our hero forgives her but sends guards to her father and has him arrested. Afterward, he goes to the palace to take the king's position. But he holds a meeting for all the advisors and tells them I will make a new decision to abolish the monarchy system. Everyone is surprised by his decision. Of course, the minister refuses because this is not in his interest and leaves the palace angry. At that time, the queen mother goes to visit her father in prison and apologizes for reporting him because she loves Ion and does not want him harmed. She says goodbye and leaves him, but he calls after her and tells her the minister was cooperating with him and warns her about him because he is a dangerous person. The queen mother is surprised by his words. When she comes out, she finds the minister waiting for her outside. He takes her with him in his car and on the way asks her to cooperate with him against Ion. He also says he will finish off her son. The queen mother gets scared of him and is forced to listen to him. Afterwards, Sion goes to our hero and tells him she is proud of him and will always love him no matter what happens. Ion is happy at her words and kisses her hand. He leaves her and goes to hold a meeting with the palace advisors. The minister has arranged with them to remove him from the king's position. But suddenly, Sion arrives with an important piece of evidence. We learn the queen mother recorded the minister's words while he was threatening her and decided to expose him. Everyone is shocked by what they hear and immediately realizes the minister is the one who started the fire to finish off our hero. They decide to remove him from his position. Afterward, our hero issues a law abolishing the monarchy system and abdicates his position and asks the people to hold elections and choose the leader themselves. He did this because the system was responsible for his brother's death and was almost responsible for his own death too. He decides to live his life free like any young man his age. When he comes out of the palace, he finds Sion waiting for him. He is happy when he sees her and runs to her and hugs her. He decides to continue his life with her. A year passes from that day and we see Sion going to the company. We learn she has returned to her old life and has become a successful businesswoman. On the other side, our hero is at home waiting for her and cooking the food she loves. When she arrives, he leans out and talks to her and presents her with a bouquet of flowers and proposes she marry him, but this time for real and not with a fake contract. He thinks she will agree easily, but she refuses and starts interrogating him and asks him when was the first time he felt he loved her. Ian laughs and decides to tell her the truth. He confesses he was impressed by her from the very first time he saw her at school. Sion is surprised because she has also loved him for a long time and is overjoyed and tells him she agrees to marry him. Our hero hugs her and decides to take her out on a romantic date together. But they meet the assistant and the secretary coming out on the same date and learn they are also together now. They are happy and go to the stadium to cheer for their favorite team. They joke and laugh and have a lovely time together. Suddenly, the camera comes to them and the audience sees them. But this time, our hero kisses her in front of them all. Because he is no longer a prince, they decide to get married and continue their life in happiness, and their story ends with a happy ending. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive the latest videos.